So hello and welcome to the channel. Welcome to what's been a long time coming, this video. I must have been making this video for nearly a month now. I've been away working quite a lot, finally back home, and I've just been trying to get this setup in the Honda NSX dialed in before I went away really. And I've got to be quite honest, I kind of found myself in a position where I really didn't know why I wanted to set this car up at all, because I was really struggling to get it anywhere near the Mustang. So in this video we're going to be looking at the setup I've used during this race that I took part in on the Xbox Series X, and then we're going to be looking at the setup that I've been working on the PC. Obviously there's a lot going on in the setup, and we'll look at that when we come to watch the lap during the race. But this is just the setup that I'd been working on the PC, getting into the 813s, and it really is a struggle in this car. But as well as in this video, I wanted to look at two other videos that I've been desperate to get on PC. Is BodyCam, which was a first-person shooter. And obviously we've got the recent release of Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. I'm going to feature both of those videos in this video. It's going to be a bit of a weird video. So let's kick things off with this Test Drive Unlimited early access Solar Crown, and we can see from this cutscene as we start inside the one of the venues that we're going to be able to buy cars from. And I've got to be honest, I was massively disappointed when I launched this game. I had seen a few little clips on other YouTube videos, and it just looks so dated, doesn't it? It really does. Graphically, it just looks like nothing special whatsoever. It almost looks like a game from maybe 10 years ago graphically. Alright, the cars do look nice. The car modelling, I wouldn't even say there's ray tracing going on there because it's probably too technical. But I really did struggle. Obviously I'm only running this on a very basic setup. It's an i5 processor with a 3060 RTX card in there. But I'm probably getting close to 60 frames per second. Not sure if there are tweaks that I can do within the game to get it running smoother, but once I've got a control panel hooked up to the laptop, we could get things moving. And I've got to be honest, getting in the car, the Mustang sounds pretty sweet. Couple of revs on the gearbox, and I've literally just plugged this in. I've not done any setup within the interface. I'm running this on my Fanatec wheel, the Club Sport 2.5 base, and I've literally just literally plug and play. So initially, first out, the trees are really blocky, but I don't even know if that's just the settings that I'm having to run on the system that I'm using. Obviously if you've got a more high-end PC, you can see it's not until I'm very close to a lot of these objects that they're actually starting to render as trees. And it really does look terrible, to be honest. Driving through, I think it's based in Japan. But I think I'm just going to put this down to the system that I'm actually running it on. Really are having to wait until things are really close to actually get any detail. So going into the menu system, I think I was just trying to see if there are things that I could just adjust during this sort of demo. I couldn't even find how to switch off the radio. The radio is something that really does just annoy me when you're first getting into some of these games. So just changing a few of these settings. You see there I'm running the Fanatec Club Sport wheelbase, so at least it does recognise the wheel. Just reading through some of these menu options, trying to kind of understand. I think that one of the issues was the gear changing. But yeah, coming out of that, coming back into the garage and looking to test drive the 3 cars that were on offer really. Just skipping through some of these loading screens as well. Instantly got this crazy audio. I just wanted to turn that off instantly. I think yeah, that was one of the things as well. As soon as you're like sort of maxing out on the brake, it then goes into reverse using the brake pedal. And I just wanted to use the standard gearbox. So I started looking over all these other settings that we've got in the menus to try and find manual gear shift. But I think you only get 2 minutes in each car when you do a test drive. There's not particularly a great deal of force feedback, it just feels like you're steering the wheel. Doesn't feel like you can feel much of the road. A pretty lackluster drive in the Alpine. So heading across to the Nissan, I think it's the 350Z or something like that. Nice looking interiors. Obviously looking for a bit more textures. Obviously if you're running, like I say, a more high-end PC. I'm not sure when this game is due to actually arrive on PC, so I've got no idea if it's going to arrive on console. Again, just trying to adjust that audio. But I think this is probably the game that should have been Forza Horizon. They should have just done it in Japan. I think every single person that talks about Forza Horizon, all they talk about is where the next map is going to be. Is it going to be in Japan? That's all anyone wants. And I think maybe a lot of people that are using Forza Horizon will jump into this game just because of the location of the game, to be honest. If it does come to console, if it does come to Series X, I think it would be a big hit, to be honest. Initially I didn't like it, but looking back on the game, I think it might have actually got some longevity in it. So here we are in BodyCam then. Another game that I've been wanting for months now. I've been seeing a few clips of it on YouTube. But as you can see, coming into the game, I really am struggling to get this game to run on my machine. You can see the state of it. It really does need optimizing, but graphically, it really does look fantastic. Even looking back at the game here, and it's not early access, this is a paid for game. I think it was like £26 to buy the game. But it isn't optimized to run with a controller, so I'm having to run this through Steam using just some random person's setup, and it just doesn't feel like it operates like any other game you've ever played, any first person shooter. You're kind of pressing the button to want to be able to run, and it just doesn't do anything. You're pressing the button time and time again, and then suddenly you're running. Trying to get the game set up, going through some of these menus, changing settings to try and increase the frame rates, and then you're kind of reducing the amount of graphic fidelity you've got just to get somewhere near 60 frames per second, reducing draw distances to get things moving more smoothly, and then suddenly you're leaning one way. You can't quite make out whether someone's on your team or whether they're not. But I think it's just the whole mechanics of the game, really. They really do need to make it available to run with a control pad. I don't know why you wouldn't add the controller as a means of controlling this game. I'm not sure if DLSS is coming to the game. That might speed things up a little bit. Obviously, this is just two developers, two young teenagers or just into their early 20s doing this game. I think they're French designers, game designers. And if they can get it optimized, and even if this game came to Series X, it would be fantastic. Because I think unless you've got a high-end PC, you're just not going to get the best from it. And as much as I've tried, even with the Assetto Corsa Competizione, trying to find that same graphic fidelity on Xbox, or trying to find the same on Xbox on PC that runs on my Xbox, it just seems impossible to find. So I don't know what they do, what magic wizardry they've got going on. But yeah, moving to iRacing, I thought I would see what iRacing has got to offer, seeing as we've got this PC up and running. I've done a couple of laps in qualifying here in the Toyota Celica, I think the Toyota Celica's GT cars. I did a number of laps here at Watkins Glen just to try and get myself dialed into the race, and then just went straight into it. So this was literally my first race on the new laptop on iRacing, and you can see we're picking up just 65 frames per second with a lot of the on-screen graphics really tamed down into the 50s, 60s. It's pretty poor really, but I do think I have adjusted a number of settings. I've been watching a number of videos just recently to try and boost those frame rates. And I think the last time I was running it, I did actually start to hit like 120 frames per second. Especially if I'm offline, I can hit a decent frame rate and increase the graphics. But they are really tamed down for this race to get anywhere near 60 frames. But a good level of driving skill, I think, across the field. Obviously you can see down there in 9th place currently. I do actually finish this race in 4th position, very close to getting 3rd. But I thought I would just add the first 2 laps of this race. Not sure how much more I'll do in iRacing. I think I am coming to terms with the fact that I think ACC on the Xbox is still going to be the benchmark for the best available graphics I've currently got, really. The laptop's great, but it just doesn't offer that same level of graphic quality for the money, really. Obviously it gives me options to try these other games, and obviously hopefully waiting for Assetto Corsa Evo to come to PC. I think that'll be the best option, to at least have early access to try out what is available. I'm not really holding much hope to getting much out of the game on the system that I've got, but I think having bought this system, it gives me the option to maybe make it a little bit better next year, maybe upgrading the laptop or upgrading to a new laptop altogether. But yeah, we're going to get into the lap that I set in the Honda NSX in just a moment. We'll just finish out this lap. But I think one of the key things when I was setting up the Honda really was just how difficult it is to handle the car, to be honest. And I kind of started to second guess really why anyone would want to run the Honda at the Nürburgring. I think I started to try and chase the Mustang lap that I set at 8:10, which is probably the best lap I've set at the Nordschleife at the moment. And I do feel like I'm a very long way off the pace, but I really don't know where I'm finding the time in the lap, because an 8-minute 10 lap for me feels like I'm pushing the car to its absolute limit. Yet I know there's people setting 8:05s, and it just blows my mind as to how they're able to set these kind of lap times. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed looking at a couple of these other games, although running them on a very poor laptop. So coming back into Assetto Corsa Competizione here on the Xbox. So hopefully you're enjoying the quality. I know on the PC, looking in the rearview mirror, I've got the rearview mirror running at, I think it's like 10 frames per second. The rearview mirror looks terrible. So coming to the Xbox, things really do look quite polished, even though we're watching it here in 1080p. I do use 1440p at 120 frames on the Xbox, but in all honesty I don't think it actually runs at 120 frames on the Xbox. Although my monitor says it's running at 120 frames, I think it's just running at a very steady 60 frames per second, but 1440p. I know it was a question someone brought up just recently. Is the Xbox capable of running 4K 120? And it definitely isn't. You might find some very bespoke games as we come into a full-on flying lap here. You might find some very bespoke games that are fully optimized for the Series X that will run at 4K 120. But I think that is far and few between when it comes to the developers actually getting that out of the game. I don't know what they're managing to do to get it running at that and get that graphic fidelity, but I don't think you're going to ever find that in Assetto Corsa Competizione on Xbox. But you will see here in this lap, I think we're going to set an 8:15 in this lap, in the middle of a race as well, so plus 40 odd litres of fuel. But there's just a real inconsistency in the Honda, I think, especially over some of the rises and the falls of this circuit. The confidence through some of these corners is definitely lacking. It really is a case of just pushing the car to the limit, but being able to push that car to the limit for say 3 or 4 laps is a scary prospect. But I would just like to thank everyone that does keep coming back to this channel. I know a lot of YouTubers spend a lot of time creating the content, writing scripts for their videos and stuff, and I really do just come on here. I don't have any script to follow, I don't have any cue cards or things to remember. I just literally watch what you're watching just now, really, and say it as it is. I don't have anyone else helping edit these videos, and I guess the software does cost me quite a bit of money. I certainly don't make a single penny from this channel, but I enjoy trying to help other people with setups, and I do enjoy creating the content, as much as it does take a lot of time to create these videos. I think we're still struggling to hit that 5,000 mark, but I think it really doesn't matter how many subscribers you have, as long as people are actually watching the videos you put in on your channel. But for 47 years old, creating content for the channel and people actually enjoying some of these videos, it does make it worthwhile. But if you do enjoy the video, do smash that like button, leave a comment on the video as well. It's always good to hear from subscribers or people that have got any questions that want answering within the video. Really scary coming through that corner, it really is. A little dab of brake, trying to keep the car in a straight line. And I watched this lap back and I just don't know where. I'm sure I saw someone else's lap time in the Honda setting a 8:02. I don't think anyone's going to break the 7-minute barrier. And I can't even imagine if someone does break that barrier. I can't imagine it being in a GT2 car. I think a lot of people think the time is spent on the straights, but there's so many corners in this game getting the car hooked up. I think racing any GT2 car, they're just so far behind through the twisty stuff. But I think a lot of the cars are running very little rear wing that are setting the super fast times, but they've just got the car set up really well, and they're just quality drivers, to be fair. But you can see it is on the absolute ragged edge. Tyre pressure's a little bit wayward. Probably could do with just dropping a few PSI. Not quite sure what the track temperature is at the moment during this race. But it does look pretty nice on the Xbox. Definitely don't get the game looking this good on the PC that I'm using. But yeah, being away working doesn't really allow me to create the kind of content I'd like to create more often. And I do end up watching a lot of YouTube whilst I'm away, trying to keep up to date with what's going on with the game. But it is very hard, as you can no doubt imagine. Especially some places I visit when I'm working, the internet is terrible. We're kind of looking at 1 megabyte per second when you're kind of used to 200 megabytes at home. It's even sometimes it's hard to even open YouTube to watch a video. It's impossible to watch at times. You're lucky to even open an email with a picture on it. Another very tricky section through here. The car always feels very unstable. And this next section, we're trying to get up into 4th gear through. You can see the front 2 tyres not even at temperature. Scrabbling for grip. And it's these little off sections, you can see the rear of the car almost stepping out through there. Very light through the wheel through here as well. Trying to get the car slowed down and get it turned in through here. The Mustang really does put this car to shame through this whole section. Really does start to pull away. I thought I would show this video rather than the 813 I set on the PC. Just to show that an 815 is capable, in the race itself, not just in a hot lap session, because it's the racers themselves that we're taking part in. That's where we want to see the car and see it capable of setting these lap times. I know on all these like Coach Dave videos, you see them setting these blinding laps, but they're never in a race. They're all in like optimum conditions with literally no fuel on board. Best track conditions available. And this was just a random lobby that I entered just to see how the car setup was running. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully looking at the setup you've got in this one, there's literally 3 setups in this video. Right at the very start, so if you want to give either of them a try, let me know how you get on with the setups. Keep coming to the channel. I'll try and keep creating content as and when I can. Keep pressing that like button as well, and leave a comment. It really does sort of push me to keep creating content. Always very steady under braking through that section. A horrible bounce. just as you drop somewhere near second gear. And then across the line for, I think it's at 8.15 something. Only just into the 8.15s. And I'll just end the race there, see, taking first place. Another Honda driver as well at the top of the grid, so they are doing fairly well. Just quickly, I think, look over the lap times for the race, just to see those sector times. So 2:55 sector 1. Yeah, I guess we're not going to look at them too in depth. There we go, so 2:50, you really want to be looking in the 2:48 sector 1. And again at the end sector. But thanks for coming back to the channel, thanks for watching the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Until next time, ciao for now.